This is part 2 for the SONY SLHFR70. If you missed part 1, you can go back and watch it and see all the fun I had with it back then. But we're going to recap the symptom and my troubleshooting briefly, and then we'll get down to replacing the part and see whether the replacement part is going to fix the unit. Let's check it out. Let's recap the first one. First things first, let's see what it does. No picture, just snow. Let's pull the top. I think this is spinning too slow. You know, the drum's not going the right speed. That's what the problem is. Yeah, the drum's going too slow. I'll look at it. The drum isn't even spinning. We have a drum drive problem on this one. Okay. On these units, one of the places that we find problems is the Hall effect sensor, which is right down here, which we can't see because the rotor is in place on top of it. But if I pop the rotor out, we're going to look and see if there's any corrosion on this, because they put glue, they put that crap glue on there, and it got corrosive and conductive. This is what I'm working on, usually what goes wrong. As you'll see down here, looks like there's dried glue. This one's actually not too bad considering some of them are just rotten, but we're going to try to scrape that away because that glue that's in there goes conductive. I had another Betamax machine that the head had been rubbed from, but the motor assembly, etc., was okay as far as I knew. So I figured I'm going to pull the drum off this one, and we're going to just slap the motor assembly from one that is working or was working, and we'll see if that solves the problem. So I pulled the drum. I'm going to separate the actual motor assembly from the lower drum and video head, slap the other one on, and we'll see what the results are. Next, I'll separate the actual coil pack from the rest of the drum. I've swapped the motor assembly over. We're now going to reinstall the drum and check it out and see if it works. It does. It does. I'll tell you that much. It does initially. But the Hall sensor failed. I'm letting the cat out of the bag. It ran for a couple of hours and then it died. So we'll just fish the wires back through here and plug them in and see what happens. Alright, now I can test it out and see whether the motor spins. Is it going to turn? Of course it's going to turn. And I'm going to get a picture. Let's plug the monitor in. And we have a picture. It's not set properly yet. I got to do alignment on it now because I had the head drum out, but we got a picture. The alignment's a little bit off. I'm going to adjust the exit guide. I'll show you the guide I'm going to adjust, and then I'll put the camera back on the scope. That's the one I'm going to adjust. That one right there. Okay, adjusting it now. There we go. Much better. For you guys that absolutely need to know where the test points are, they're right here on the back side of the RF preamp. And as you can see, the motor spins. It's not spinning up to the right speed though. It's going slow like the other one was doing initially. It was spinning up to the right speed, but now it's going slow. If I unplug this one and plug this other motor in, you'll see this one here doesn't even attempt to spin. Press play, it just does that. I go back to the other one and it's trying to spin. It's the Hall sensors. It's the Hall sensor that's bad on the motor. Plug that one back in and that one spins. Yeah, it's the Hall sensor. Goddamn. It's a pretty simple analog circuit. You got a control voltage and 12 volts in ground. And you raise or lower that voltage. Smoothed by a capacitor here. And that's how you control the speed, is you increase the voltage to increase the speed, to decrease the voltage. Once it locks in, that voltage will remain stable, and it's now an error correction voltage. It'll change ever so slightly to keep the phase and the speed and the phase in check. Something I noticed that was interesting is if I push on the drum motor, if I push down here, it speeds up. I'll show you the screen. We're going to get interference from the plasma, but I'm just pushing on the Hall sensor, and you'll see what this is how you can prove it's the Hall sensor that's bad. Watch the screen. Okay. You see? Just put my thumb on there and press against it, and away she goes. Take my thumb away. That's the Hall sensor. Rest my case. I'm done. We gotta either find a new motor or a Hall sensor for this thing. Hall effect sensor, classic failure. The client that owns it found some Hall effect sensors. I guess you know what we gotta do, right? We gotta change. We gotta change them. Or change it, not them. There's only one. But I gotta change it out. Power the unit down. I gotta pull the front panel off it. Obviously, I gotta lift the circuit board to get to the connectors. I've already got the bottom off of the unit. I gotta pull the drum to separate the Hall sensor to change it. Today it's actually a bit cooler. It's actually bearable in here without turning on the AC. The last week, the heat has been hitting us here a little bit. I've been working out in the big city, as they say, where it's even hotter than here, and I tell you, it was pretty warm at work. All right, let's unplug the leads for the motor. That's one. The other one is this one here, which was this one up here, the white one. And then there was the preamp, which is under this metal cover here. Pop the cover off and pull the preamp. And then I can get the drum out, separate it, change the Hall effect, and put everything back together. Positioning the head so that they're not facing against anything that they can touch, including my fingers. We'll remove the nut from the bottom. The washer was sticking there, but you can pop this up with your fingernails if you're careful. And we're going to put this where there's nothing magnetic to stick to it. Out of the way. Now we'll remove the two screws here that hold the coil pack in place so we can change the unit. I'm just going to mark the location here. Okay, here's the Hall effect device we're going to remove. Let's see what we better maybe use a wick to take this off, just because they're quite fine. Put the old one out. And grab a new one and reinstall it. The side that faces towards the rotor is the side that's got the little circle on it here. That's the pickup side. So we're just going to thread this back down the same way it came out. The pins they're in 2 rows, 2 set back further. So if we count them from left to right, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1 and 3 are on the outside edge, and 2 and 4 are on the inside edge if we count that direction. So let's just get the sensor back in place. This is the tricky part. Threading the needle, as they say, to get the pins lined up, but a little bit of practice and it will go in. That's what she said. Okay, now I've got the part threaded in. We'll bend a pin or 2 over here just to hold it in place until I can solder it. And then we'll solder the wires down. And start reassembly. Yeah, I know my soldering iron's seen better days. I need a new tip. The shop that sold me the good tips closed their doors. Okay, now we have the new Hall effect sensor in place. The wire back down through here and lock it in place, and then we can pull it tight once I get the motor back in place. Now place the rotor back on and make sure it doesn't rub. Sounds okay. Nothing touching, nothing rubbing. That's exactly what we want. We don't want to hear any sounds, anything grinding or touching or anything. Though they would be bad. Now we'll reinstall the drum. Carefully reinstall the drum. Make sure the heads are pointing away from somewhere I'm going to grab. And we reinstall the drum. That, and then we'll hold it in place. Whoops, turn it over and make sure everything's lined up and get the screws back in. It's lined up there. Nope, not quite. Just give it a bit of a turn to line up all the holes. There we go. Now it's in place. Now I can start putting the screws back in. Plugs back in, preamp plug here, and get the cover back on for the preamp. That was plugged in properly, yep. And then the other 2 cords for the servo. One's the pulse generator, and the other one is the servo feedback loop. And that should fix it. Well, I got to put the piece back in for the guides here first, but that should make it ready for testing. This might look like plastic, but it's actually not. This is carbon impregnated plastic. You notice that one little, well, it looks like a piece of plastic, but again, it's conductive. It's touching against the drum. That's to ground that out, which grounds out the guideposts when the guideposts lock into place. I do believe this one's ready for testing. I won't be happy if this doesn't work. But of course it's going to work. And it's going to work perfect too. Let's check the picture out. I got to be careful I don't show this for more than 5 seconds because Lounge V will have a conniption. Head just clogged. We'll just clean that head off a bit. There we go. Yeah, looking good. Perfect picture. I'm going to throw the bottom on it now. And then we'll hook up the hi-fi adapter. Make sure everything is still working properly. Then I'll just let this thing test for a while. I know it's going to work. I know it's going to work because we knew what the problem was. We knew what the problem was going in because I diagnosed it in the last video, which you guys haven't probably watched. Or maybe you have. If you haven't, shame on you. Watch it first. Otherwise, you won't know why I got to this stage.
Sure you will, because I spent the first 5 minutes recapping it.
And yeah, that'll get this one back up and running. So let me just throw the bottom and top covers on it. And do that even without shutting it down. This time I took all the screws out rather than just loosen them, because I found that the problem when you loosen the screws, so you can take the bottom off, is the screws stick down below the little rubber feet or little plastic feet, and I drag it around on my bench and it scratches up my bench. So I said, you know what, I'll just take all the screws out this time. For the time it takes to actually put them in place, it's probably faster than trying to get the cover to slide in place and to lock into place anyway, because it's always sticking on things, right? So this is probably faster than just loosening them anyway. Yes. Herb Albert and a Tijuana brass. From going places, I might add. Gotta love it. Look at that. The HFR processor. We can select left channel or right channel, our stereo. We can select line audio, audio only, which turns off the video when you're recording. Audio only has an MPX filter, auto stereo. That's for the MTS. If you put the SAP on, it will record the second audio program on the linear channel. But there it is, beautiful. HFP 200 beta hi-fi processor. And yeah, picture quality is excellent, sound quality is fantastic. This is a nice little setup, you know. Even though you have to have the 2 units, it still looks cool with those VU meters blinking away there, showing you your audio. You could use this as an audio recorder, get 4.5 hours, actually 5 hours on an L830, but an L750, 4.5 hours of CD quality audio, basically. Great little unit for recording audio. And of course, video is not so bad either. There's the video coming off this one. Well, there we have it. This one's all done. I'm going to throw the top on it now, give the customer a call, and let them know that his Betamax is up and running.
Let's look at another old tape that I recorded off TV years ago.
One of our first pay TV channels that we had here in Canada. Actually, we had First Choice and then Super Channel. And this was recorded off Super Channel eons ago, because this station, well, Super Channel still exists. It's just not the same Super Channel that we had before. This was the movie channel of the day in the West.
The following program is rated PG, Primetime Magazine.
Complete with glitches and dropouts. Yeah, right. It's an animated cartoon. I can't show it. This is probably one of the first live action movies with animation.
Wrong with that tape? Look what it says. It says rabbit gets clumped, rabbit sees stars, not birds. I'll be in my trailer, taking a nap. Excuse me, Toots. My stomach can't take this. This there's a mess. Clean this setup.
Alright, that does it for this one. This one's back together. Just got to throw a top on it. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.